Hello children, this is Mrs. Lang and it's lovely to see you. Today, Thursday, is our foundation lesson and this is an RE lesson for both years 1 and 2. This half term in our RE we would have been looking at caring. Why should we care for other people? And that's something that is very much to do with our reach values as well. So it's a really important lesson. I'm looking forward to showing you some stories and some inspiring people and things to help us to understand. First of all, we're going to find out about a question that was asked of Jesus. Somebody, an important person, wanted to know who he should look after, who he should care for, and Jesus gave him an interesting answer. So listen out for this. The teacher of the law once asked Jesus, "Who is my neighbour?" Jesus told a story to help him to understand. He said there was once a man making a journey along a lonely road. Unfortunately, he was beaten up by robbers who took all his possessions and left him lying for dead along the side of the road. A priest came by, someone you might have expected to help, but he was too scared and he left as quickly as he could. A Levite also moved away along the other side of the path and left. Then a Samaritan came along. Now, Samaritans are not friends of Israelites, and this would be quite surprising to the listeners because the Samaritan put oil on the man's wounds, bandaged them up, put him on his donkey, and took him to a local inn where he asked the innkeeper to look after him. He gave the innkeeper money to look after the man until he came back. Now Jesus said to the teacher of the law, "Who was the good neighbour?" I hope you enjoyed the story, children. I'm going to ask you some questions now. I'll give you some thinking time after each one. First of all, if you were acting in a play of this story, who would you like to be? Well, I think we all want to be the hero, wouldn't we? The Good Samaritan. I don't think we'd want to be the man who was beaten up. The next question is, why did Jesus make up this story? Well, it was in response to being asked the question, "Who is my neighbour?" And Jesus was explaining the kind of person who might be our neighbour. How did the Samaritan show that he cared, I wonder? Well, I wonder if you picked out all the different things that he did. He stopped first of all, and then he dressed the wounds, bandaged them up, put the man on his donkey, took him to an inn, and then he left some money for the man to be well looked after. Lots of things, and all at his own expense as well. Why did he care? Well, like we'd all hope to do, I think, because he saw someone who was in need, he took the trouble to stop and to help, didn't he? Who in the story only cared for themselves, I wonder? Well, the men who came from the temple, they should have shown much more care, but they didn't. They were much more interested in their own safety and making sure that they didn't get attacked by the robbers as well, so they daren't stop. And did you notice that the robbers were the baddies in the story, but actually the people who passed by were almost as bad as them, because they didn't show any care at all either, did they? So who do you think is your neighbour? Well, I think Jesus was trying to say that even our enemies can can be our neighbour. It's not just the person who lives next door, but it's everybody around us. And of course, in our world, when we know so much about what is going on, our neighbours actually live all around the world. Now, we're going to find out about somebody who went into another country to help people because she cared so much and she wanted to follow Jesus' example. Her name was Mother Teresa, and I'd like you just to listen and find out a little bit more about her now. This lady is Mother Teresa. She was born in 1910 in Europe. When she grew up, she became a nun because she wanted to follow Jesus. And she was sent to Calcutta, in one of the poorest cities in India, to work as a teacher. But when she got there, she saw all the needs around her in the slums, and she decided that she had to go out and work with these people. So she set up hostels for those who had nowhere to live. She looked after children who had no one to care for them. She had hospitals to help the people who were sick. She sat with the dying. She taught those who needed to be taught about all sorts of things. She was such an inspiration that 4,000 ladies followed her and set up similar work in 123 countries in the world. She won the Nobel Peace Prize for her outstanding work amongst people who needed help, and lots of famous people would go and see her. She always wore the same clothes, the white sari with the blue band and a cross. She was a little lady, a very humble lady, but her contribution was recognised around the world. And when she died in 1997, lots of people were very sad. She left us with some fantastic sayings. This one says, "Kind words are short and easy to speak, but their echoes are truly endless." Now, Mother Teresa was a nun, which meant she's devoted herself to God and to following Jesus. You might have noticed a cross on her habit. Now, people of all faiths, Jewish, Muslims, all the faiths, believe that it's important that we care for each other. And there is something that they would all agree with, and people who have no faith would probably agree with, which is something that's called the Golden Rule. And the Golden Rule says, treat other people as you would like them to treat you. And we'll just have a think about that for a moment. Right, so if you can imagine yourself at school and you've got a lovely game out or a toy and other people want to play with you, if you said, no, you're not going to share, then you wouldn't be treating them as you would like to be treated. If somebody pushed you out of the way to get into the queue first, you wouldn't like that, would you? Because you don't like being treated like that. If some children whisper about you and laugh about you, well, they wouldn't like to be treated like that, would they? And nor do you. And if you leave all your toys or crayons all over the lounge and somebody has to tidy up after you, how do you feel about that? It's not fair for the other person, is it, that they have to tidy up after you? So treating others as we would like to be treated ourselves is really, really important. Now, a few years ago, some children were asked to do some artwork for a competition about the Golden Rule, and they had to show in pictures how they thought the Golden Rule would mean for all of us, what they thought it would mean. And I want you to have a look at the pictures now and see what you think and do some learning from those. Fraser's picture of the Golden Rule has a tree with fruit growing on it. The fruit is a gift from God and it is good. Each one of the fruit has a word connected to the Golden Rule. Care care, respect, help and love. One child is helping the other child by pushing the swing for him. They are happy friends and are laughing because they are showing love and care for each other, following the golden rule. Max's t-shirt is dyed blue to look like the heavens, and she made a heart out of buttons to show love and care, which she thinks is the golden rule. She also put feather wings and a halo to show that if you love and respect people, you will be like an angel. Lewis's picture is of a tree because it stands pointing to the sky and God is in the sky. The golden rule is at the top of the tree because it is so important to God and to ourselves. The tree is standing tall and firm, like the golden rule helps us to stand up straight and live our lives doing the right thing. He wrote trust at the sides because we have to trust ourselves to do the right thing. Treat other people how you want to be treated. So the people under the tree are holding hands to show care, friendship and support. Grace chose cooperation because if you don't cooperate, you wouldn't be able to do things with your best friend or any friends. To cooperate, you need to talk to each other. And while she was making this, she thought a lot about her and her friend Sophie working together as a team to dance a duet. Grace drew a beehive because bees work together and they all help. The picture inspired her because bees collect honey by themselves and then share that honey. They're always busy collecting honey, not just for themselves, but for everyone. And Grace wanted to be a kind person. In her picture, there is sunshine and rain. The picture shows people still helping in the good times and the bad times. Mother Teresa left us with some great messages, and I want to share some of them with you now. Lots of people have found these to be very, very inspirational. So this one says, God doesn't require us to succeed, only that we try. Let every action of mine be beautiful for God. Every time you smile at someone, it is an action of love, a gift to that person, a beautiful thing. It is not how much we do, but how much love we put in the doing. It is not how much we give, but how much love we put in the giving. And lastly, not all of us can do great things, but we can do small things with great love. Well, I hope you've enjoyed all the things that I've shown you today. There's lots of things we can learn about caring from these things, and I hope that they'll help you to make a difference to the people around you. Why should we care? Because if we care, we are making a difference and making a positive impact on the people around us is something that they will appreciate and that will make their lives better. So try to do that, children, and try and remember what we've learned about caring for today. These are some activities that you might like to do after today's lesson. If you had a job like Mother Teresa's, what would you do? Draw and write what you would choose. You could make your own picture to describe the golden rule, like the other children did. Can you think of 2 ways you like to be built up or encouraged or cared for? And can you think of some things that you could do to build up other people this week? And could you do them? Think about family, neighbours, lonely people, people who are isolated, people who can't get out of their homes, people in care homes. Could you make them a card or send a special message? Could you colour them a picture or send them a smile to say you are thinking of them? Could you choose your favourite saying in Mother Teresa and write it and decorate it with what you could do to be like her? I look forward to seeing some of your posts of the things that you've been doing. Goodbye for now.